one revolver, 6 A-list actors who all shared the same screen. One of the most legendary continuity mistakes in movie history, and a gun swap controversy that fans are still arguing about more than 30 years later. Today, we are taking this stainless steel 357 Magnum apart piece by piece, and by the end of this video, you will never watch this movie the same way again. Welcome back to the channel. This is the place where real firearm history collides with unforgettable film moments, where we dig into the specs, the story, and the accuracy behind the guns that made cinema legendary. If you love crime films, cult classics, or just want to know why a certain snub-nosed revolver keeps showing up in the hands of Hollywood's toughest characters, you are exactly where you need to be, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button before we get into it. Today we are focused on the Smith Wesson Model 66, chambered in .357 Magnum, as it appeared in one of the most quotable cult classics of the 90s, the film behind the gun. Before he ever sat in a director's chair himself, a young screenwriter with a head full of Elvis records and pulp crime novels wrote a script about a comic shop clerk who falls hard for a call girl, steals a suitcase of cocaine from her pimp, and drives cross-country toward Hollywood with mobsters and undercover cops closing in from every direction. That screenwriter was Quentin Tarantino, and while he would later step behind the camera for his most famous work, this particular script landed with a different filmmaker entirely, the immensely talented Tony Scott, brother of Ridley Scott, who brought a stylish, sun-bleached, almost dreamlike energy to what could have been a straightforward crime picture. The cast attached to this film still feels unbelievable today. A young leading man riding high off his teen idol years, a leading lady who would go on to reinvent herself as one of the most respected character actresses of her generation, and tucked into small supporting roles throughout, an absolute murderer's row of future icons, a wild-eyed crime lord, paranoid mob enforcer, a scene-stealing detective, a soon-to-be action superstar, a rising leading man who would headline the biggest films of the following decade, and a legendary character actor who elevates every scene he touches. None of them are the top-billed stars, and yet this still feels like one of the strongest casts ever assembled for a single film. Through all of that star power and stylized violence, one piece of hardware quietly threads its way through the entire back half of the story. A gleaming stainless revolver our leading man tucks into his waistband early on, and carries with him through betrayal, gunfire, and a legendarily chaotic hotel finale. The origin story. To understand this gun, we need to rewind back to the mid-1950s. A border patrolman and firearms instructor named Bill Jordan approached Smith and Wesson with an idea. Police officers wanted the stopping power of the .357 Magnum cartridge, but they did not want to lug around a heavy, oversized N-frame revolver on duty all day. Jordan wanted something built on the medium-sized K-frame, light enough for daily carry, strong enough to handle Magnum pressure. Smith & Wesson answered in 1957 with the Model 19, quickly nicknamed the Combat Magnum, and it became an instant favorite among working police officers nationwide. The Model 19 was brilliant, but it had one drawback. Like most revolvers of its era, it was made from blued carbon steel, meaning humidity, sweat, and daily wear could eventually take a toll on its finish. Smith & Wesson had already experimented with stainless steel construction on smaller models earlier in the decade. So the next step was obvious: take everything shooters loved about the Combat Magnum and build it entirely out of stainless steel. The first examples rolled off the production line in the spring of 1970, with the company formally announcing the new revolver to the public the following year. They called it the Model 66. Design and specs that made it iconic. Mechanically, the Model 66 offered everything shooters already loved about the Model 19. A smooth, refined, double-action trigger pull that many collectors still consider one of the finest factory triggers Smith & Wesson ever produced. Fully adjustable rear sights paired with a bright front sight blade for fast target acquisition. Excellent balance in the hand thanks to that medium K-frame, often described by enthusiasts as the Goldilocks size. Not too heavy like the big N-frame Magnums, not too light like the smaller J-frame snub guns. What set it apart from its blued sibling was simply the material. Stainless steel resisted corrosion far better in humid climates, made it more forgiving for officers working outdoors in every kind of weather, and required noticeably less maintenance to keep looking sharp after years of holster wear. It is not an exaggeration to say the Model 66 became the working detective's best friend, equally comfortable riding in a duty holster or tucked discreetly under a plainclothes jacket. Smith & Wesson offered it with a 2.5-inch barrel for easier concealment, a 4-inch barrel that became the most popular configuration among uniformed officers, and a 6-inch barrel favored by target shooters who wanted a longer sight radius. Chambered for both 357 Magnum and the milder 38 Special, it gave shooters flexibility depending on the situation, full house Magnum loads for maximum stopping power, or softer shooting 38 Special rounds for practice and lighter recoil. That versatility, paired with genuine daily carry durability, is exactly why so many production designers reached for this revolver whenever a script called for a tough, no-nonsense character who lived by their gun. Today, well-preserved examples of the Model 66 routinely fetch 2 to 3 times their original retail price on the collector market, a reflection of just how enduring this design has proven to be. The gun inside the film. Our leading man's character works at a comic book store, has a soft spot for kung fu movies, and finds himself falling head over heels for a woman he barely knows. Early in the story, that snub-nosed Model 66 appears tucked into his waistband, almost like a security blanket, right before he walks into an incredibly tense confrontation with the woman's dangerous former employer. What follows is one of the most quoted, most uncomfortable, and most rewatched dialogue scenes of 90s cinema, and it ends with our hero pulling the trigger. From there, the story rockets forward into a spiraling crime plot involving a stolen suitcase, a Hollywood producer, an undercover federal agent, and a truly unforgettable motel room negotiation that somehow features 4 future household names sitting in the same tense scene together. Eventually, everything collides in a legendary, over-the-top shootout inside a hotel suite that has become one of the most parodied and referenced action sequences of the decade. Throughout all of it, that same stainless revolver keeps reappearing, first defending our hero, and later ending up in the hands of the woman he loves during the film's explosive finale. The continuity controversy. Here's where things get genuinely interesting for prop collectors and film historians. Several respected firearm databases claim that partway through the story, our hero swaps his Model 66 for a nearly identical-looking Smith Wesson revolver, chambered instead in .45 ACP, supposedly picked up from a fallen associate after a brutal knife fight. It is a reasonable theory on paper since both guns share a nearly identical stainless silhouette and would be easy to mix up during editing. But watch the sequence frame by frame and it falls apart. Our hero bursts into that motel room, grabs the woman and the suitcase, and bolts out the door without ever stopping to search the body on the floor. There simply is not a believable moment where the swap could have happened. My honest read is that this was most likely an armorer continuity slip rather than an intentional character choice. And for the rest of this breakdown, we are treating the Model 66 as the one true gun of the film from start to finish. If you have a different theory, I would genuinely love to hear it in the comments below. Grading the movie gun. Now for our favorite part of the show, where we grade this movie gun across 3 categories: capacity, caliber, and character accuracy. First, capacity. Did the filmmakers respect the 6-round limit of a real revolver cylinder? During the climactic hotel shootout, our heroine fires exactly 3 well-placed rounds and drops her target instantly, completely realistic and requiring no reload. Unfortunately, the earlier confrontation tells a different story. Count the shots fired during that dialogue-heavy standoff, and the total climbs well past 6 without a single reload, cutaway, or magazine change to explain it. That is about as clear a movie gun mistake as they come, so this category earns a rough grade of F. Next, caliber capability. Would these rounds actually get the job done in real life? The Model 66 can be loaded with either 357 Magnum or 38 Special, and honestly it barely matters which one the filmmakers intended here. Multiple center mass hits from either cartridge are more than capable of ending a fight immediately, and the on-screen results certainly reflect that reality. This category earns a solid grade of A. Finally, character accuracy. Could these particular characters realistically make these shots under pressure? Our hero firing at extremely close range during a chaotic, adrenaline-soaked confrontation is completely believable. Our heroine's performance during the finale is a tougher sell on paper, firing across a fairly large hotel suite under extreme duress and still landing every shot with a lightweight snub nose that kicks noticeably during rapid fire. That said, this entire story is steeped in themes of fate, destiny, and almost supernatural luck, carrying its 2 leads through disaster after disaster, so within the world the filmmakers built, I am willing to give this one a pass. Character accuracy earns a generous grade of A as well. Averaging it all out, the Smith & Wesson Model 66 earns a solid, respectable overall grade of C for this film, held back almost entirely by that one glaring reload error, but redeemed by everything surrounding it. Where else you have seen this revolver? Once you know what to look for, you will start spotting this gun everywhere. Clint Eastwood carried one in a gritty 70s action picture about a cop escorting a witness across a hostile city. Eddie Murphy wielded one during a memorable bar confrontation in his breakout buddy cop comedy from the following decade. It shows up briefly in the hands of a supporting mob associate in one of the most acclaimed organized crime films ever made. Tarantino fans will also spot one carried by a nervous, foul-mouthed criminal in his directorial debut about a diamond heist gone horribly wrong. Bruce Willis famously produces one from an unexpected hiding spot in a 90s buddy action comedy, and Harrison Ford grapples for one during a tense confrontation near the climax of his biggest thriller of the decade. The Hidden Connection. Here is a connection that ties everything together beautifully. Years before his younger brother would direct our featured film, Ridley Scott directed his own stylish crime thriller, starring two incredible leading men, playing New York detectives, escorting a captured crime boss overseas, only for everything to go sideways after they land. One of those detectives carries a Model 66 throughout much of the film, and after a devastating turn of events involving a sword-wielding assassin, that very revolver ends up passed to his partner in one of the most quietly emotional handoffs in 90s action cinema. Two brothers, two completely different films, and one revolver linking them together in a way most audiences never even noticed. So there it is, a revolver that started life as a police officer's dream gun, ended up defining one of the most quoted cult classics of the 90s, and quietly connects two brothers who both left their mark on Hollywood forever. That is the kind of story we chase down every single week on this channel. The real history hiding behind the guns you have seen 100 times but never truly looked at. This channel truly appreciates every single person who takes the time to watch. If you enjoyed learning the real history behind this legendary movie Revolver, smash that like button, subscribe for more deep dives just like this one, and drop a comment letting me know which movie gun you want us to tackle next. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.